Hi everyone, and welcome to an online race at Spa-Francorchamps. This is a one-make race in Gran Turismo Sport, which means everyone is driving the same car, the brand new A90 Toyota Supra, which incidentally I've just road tested, and about 258 kilowatts of power, 8-speed automatic, a very nice vehicle to drive virtually and also in real life. So this video is about dealing with the carnage and grief and pain that is all part of online racing. So that starts here. Now you can see that everyone's coming down into a very sharp right hand corner, and if you look in the top right hand corner of the screen you can see there's a track map. That red triangle is my car, all the blue ones all bunched up there are everyone else's car. Now I don't want to get punted off at turn 1, but you know, that is to some extent outside of your control. All you can do when you're doing racing for real or online is just stack the decks in your favour. Now, I've started to do that. I've done a couple of things or not done some things. The racing line is actually where fluffy line 311 is, which is all the way out to the left as you you approach the turn 1 or the right of our screen there. But I haven't gone out there because if I did that, then I would lose time moving out to the left, and then numbers 3 and 5 will just go up the inside. I'd lose position. So I'm just going to defend the inside there, but I haven't gone so close that someone thinks it's a good idea to go right up the inside there. So that's what I'm doing there. Just kept my line, covered off the inside, I'm braking as late as I can and trying to get that car in the corner as quickly as I can, and hopefully things will work out. But as you can see there, that is not the case, because Aquilidio there has gone into the back of me. Now, did he do that deliberately? Was it just a bit of a brain fade? Was it a genuine driving mistake? Did he get punted from behind? Who knows? Who cares? I don't care. All I care about is the fact I'm off, and now I've got to go from the back. And there's no point holding a grudge, getting upset about it. You just go, oh well, that's just part of racing. Off you go. And you just take pride in what you can do as opposed to what other people have done to you. That's the most important thing. Okay, so here I go off into what is known as the Shadow Realm, and car is ghosted, put it back, and I'm now in dead last. So what can we do from here? Now you can see here that number 13 has also gone sideways, so that's good. So I'm going to pick up a place there. So that's fantastic. And now we're heading down into Eau Rouge here, side by side with number 14. And alright, so keeping out of trouble is a lot about looking ahead. Now you can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cars going side by side into that corner, or looks like it. Maybe not exactly because of the camera angle here, but maybe there's at least 2 abreast there, and one of them, it looks like it's spun off already. This cannot end well. Also, I've got number 14 next to me, and I remember from looking at the grid that this guy qualified quite a long way down, so he's relatively slow compared to the top 3 or 4 people on the grid, so that's a factor to bear in mind as well. I am ahead, so it is my corner, but he does have the inside line, so maybe it's going to be better for me to back out of that corner rather than risk a crash. We don't know at this point. This is the decision I'm making there, as well as monitoring the interesting situation ahead. And you can see there that, yeah, someone's had a bad time of it, turn 2 there. All right, but look, it looks like those cars have more or less managed to get themselves into line astern, which is great. And also, if you look in my rear view mirror now, you can see that the silver car 14 is slotted in beside me now, which is nice. So then I can take the racing line here. Okay, now, normally at this point I would be in 6th gear, but because of all of this grief and pain going ahead of me, I've knocked it down into 5th gear because I can just foresee trouble ahead, and I'd rather not get mixed up in that. So I'm just going to trade a little bit of speed for staying out of trouble, and that's generally a good thing to do. Now you can see here that Spam Fluke ahead of us has picked up a penalty. The car is not where it needs to be. and that's probably going to cut ahead of me, so you can see there as well. So yeah, here we go, and I'm on the throttle here, but then off the throttle. I'm actually braking here to avoid this guy. Now this is terrible for your lap time, because this is probably the worst place in the track to be on the brakes, but and I should be at about 180, 190 kilometers an hour at this point, but I'm not. I'm at 155, but it's better that speed than to avoid than to have a crash. So it has that, and I just managed to avoid him. And also, because I'm going slower, I'm better able to avoid a crash. The faster you go, the more the limit you are, the harder it is to avoid a crash. And if you look in my wing mirror now, we've got another silver car right behind us, being attacked by silver cars at the moment. And you see he's right behind us now, that silver car. So that's fine, they can stay there. Now let's see what's happening ahead. So we've got several cars all ahead, and what's going to happen there? Spamfluke is going pretty quick, so he's going quicker than I am, and he's ahead, and he's accelerating. He's going to get into that mess very quickly indeed. And he's thinking about going to the right, but of course there's no gap there, so he's going to go to the left. And now he's changed his mind, he's going to go to the right. Now this, my friend, is a bad idea. When you are travelling, I'm doing 185, he's probably doing 195 or 190, and he's just done a big change of direction. Cars do not change that well at that sort of speed. Well, maybe a Formula 1 car would, but a Supra or normal tyres will not. And as a result, he just spears himself off into the barrier, entirely self-forced error there, and we've got someone else making a similar error up ahead there as well. Alright, so we'll just make a tiny correction to the left and see what happens here. Okay, so now we're coming up towards, we're going to start thinking about that braking zone now, and on the left hand side there's a car. Now he's ahead, so he might take the corner, might not. I think I've got a bit of running him though. I'm looking at 6 and 7, and I see disaster written all over 6 and 7, so let's see what happens there. And you can see that 6 is pushing 7 off the track. Now is that intentional? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, who knows. It could be simply that 6 doesn't realise 7 exists, because they're not using their radar view, just haven't realised. But whatever it is, 7 goes off the track. So this is going to cause problems, because we're now getting very close to the breaking point here. So there's a couple of things I'm doing here. One is I'm leaving space on the left hand side for the car number 9. Secondly, so I'm not moving my car all the way to the left, but also I'm keeping it in the middle of the road, because I don't want to give anyone the idea it's going to be a good idea to send one up the inside. You can see here in my wing mirror I've got a silver car behind me, and who's further over to the right than I am, and I don't want to encourage their idea of an overtaking manoeuvre. Plus I want to stay out of the way of that little tete-a-tete that 6 and 7 are having there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the brakes a bit earlier than what I normally would, really hard, slam on the brakes hard, and hopefully won't get around from behind. I did have a silver car in my wing mirror. It's now not in the rear view mirror, and it looks like on the left that the red car, I've got a bit of a run on it, so I'm now ahead into the corner, and I've got the inside line, so I should be okay there. But yeah, I'm worried about number 7, so it's got to brake as hard as I can, and yeah. Okay, at this point I really think I'm going to hit him and knock him into next week and take myself out, or at least put myself back a bit as well. But fortunately, somehow just managed to miss him just by a fraction of a second. But was that lucky? Yes, in a way it absolutely was lucky, but I made that luck because I saw trouble happening from a way back and positioned myself in a way that I would hopefully minimise the risk of running into it. So lucky and unlucky, lucky and making you unlucky at the same time. Alright, so now I've got a red car on my left somewhere, can't actually see him in the mirrors, but I've got that grey car behind as well, and so yeah, cars all the way around, so some cars on my left somewhere. Okay, there he is. Oh, and in fact, looking at it, that red car there just speared off the left-hand side of the track. So that's the last we'll see of him for a while. And I've got another red car behind me now being sworn by red cars. Silver cars are done with me, now it's the red cars. And okay, so there we go. There's Rev Head again, coming back onto the track there. So we kind of knew he was going to do that because we saw he speared off onto the left there. Now he's just coming back on. So we got 2 red cars ahead, and see what happens next. All right, so they're probably going to hit. Yeah, oh no, ghosts actually, so that's great. So that means number 5 gets to live another day, which is excellent. And I'll go past number 6 now. A bit worried here because this is a right-hander and I'm on the outside. That's a risky place to be. So what I'm going to do is number 5, you can see there, is far enough ahead that I don't need to worry about him. I'm not going to try and overtake him. I'm too far behind. Number 6 I think should be okay. He's on the inside, but I know he's got no momentum at all because of the way he was going there. So what I'm going to do is just going to leave a bit of room on the inside for him. Not huge amounts. You can see there that he's nowhere near in my mirrors. Oh, so it's in the rear view mirror there, so left him a bit of space there. And helpfully number 5 throws himself off the track, which is lovely of him. Okay. All right, so at this point we have made it from 15th or first to last, and now back up to 15th. Now, here's the next corner, and this is one I'm not going to defend. I've got a bit of a run on 5th there, and it's not a heavy braking zone, so I can just take it at speed. And I'm just going to make sure that I do that and don't make any mistakes, because if I do make a mistake on that corner, someone is going to, for sure, come and grab me. That's a double apex corner here, but I'm going to single apex it, just hug it all the way around, because that's more of a defensive line. If you double apex it, people tend to get the idea that can go up the inside, so not what you want to do. Now you can see here, take a look at the other cars coming around this corner. You see the effects of just running wide there. So you can see number 6 runs wide, and how much time 6 loses to me. And you can also see, look at 8 and 9. So 8 runs wide there, and 9, you can see 9 just comes straight through. So 9 just takes the corner nice and smoothly, hugs the inside there. 8th has run wide, 10th has run wide, and as a result 8 and 9 swap places. Okay, so at this point we have had a little bit of carnage and excitement on the first few corners, and it's now into settled down mode, because there's enough of a gap for me between me and Mr. Revhead in 6th that I don't need to worry about defending, and nor am I close enough to number 4 to worry about launching any form of overtaking manoeuvre. So this is where I like to drive at 90-95%. There are super talented people out there that can drive at 100% all the time and not make a mistake. Well, I'm not one of them, and probably most people aren't either. So if you do make a mistake, you might lose, I don't know, 6-7 tenths on a corner or the next corner combined. Try making that up. You can't really. So you're better off just losing, half a tenth every corner, as opposed to just getting that half tenth every corner and then gambling it all away and making a mistake. And when you do make a mistake, by the way, you also find out often that's someone behind you, and then you let them through. So not only have you lost time, you've opened the door to being passed. All right, so I'm catching up number 4 here, Camel 8008. I wonder if that's a rude word or not, but whatever. So I don't know how quickly I'm going to catch him, but I am catching him. And okay, now here we can see things going wrong. So he's tapped the brakes briefly once, come off the brakes a bit early, missing the apex there by approximately a bus ride, a train ride, and a probably something else as well. And yep, he's going to run wide. So if I can take this corner even reasonably well, I should be able to get a good run on him. And yeah, look, having to correct that. The car's slowing down. The front left wheel is pointing not straight ahead. Is understeering there. Yeah, definitely slow. So I'm going to gain time here. In fact, I gain a lot of time. I can just go straight by him. Now the important thing there is don't get target fixated. So when you're catching someone at that sort of speed here, it's so easy to look at the car. You know what? You're going to head where you're looking. So if you look at the car, you're going to hit him. You've got to look past the car and just ignore the car. It's really hard to do. Look where you want to go, and that's where the car will go. Really important point. Now I've made up enough of a gap here. I don't even need to go defensive into the next chicane here. Just focus on taking it right. Important to get a good run out here, which I do. Number 5 goes a bit squirrely, so that's good for me, because then I've got more of a gap and a breathing space. So then we can worry about turn 1 here, and there's no one to smash me out of it. So into 3rd gear. Okay, so a couple of points on corners like this. Turn really tightly, and particularly in fact any car actually, only accelerate when you're unwinding the steering lock. And if you're unsure what gear to go around in a corner in, then use the higher gear. So if you're unsure if it's second or third, use third. Get on the power earlier and you've got less torque, less chance of wheel spin. So that's what we do there. Apply the power as we unwinding steering lock, and we take a run down to Rouge here, which as said is probably one of the most difficult corner complexes in the world. Now, I'm not really very good at it, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to button off and take it conservatively and get it right, as opposed to go through. You can see I got down to about 170 k's an hour there, and if I got it right, probably would have been like 180, 190. So I'm actually losing time to these guys coming down this straight here, but I chose to do that just to drive conservatively, consolidate my gains, as opposed to risk it all there. So that's the way I tend to drive, and that's my choice. You can obviously drive a different way, but there is an option. Conservatively does pay off. Alright, so I'm just focusing really on getting everything right here, and that works. As you can see now that I'm pretty close behind number 3, Evil DNA, and I'm now close enough that Evil DNA will have realised I'm there and starts to think about me. And you can see it's getting a little bit loose, a little bit untidy there, but still going pretty quickly. Now over here I do have a bit of a run. I'm close, and I've got a bit of a run on him. So what are we going to do, Evil DNA? Well, he's done something really smart there. He's gone to the left, and that's really good, because then I can't go on the inside. That forces me to the outside, and if I go to the outside, as long as he keeps the racing line all the way through, then I'm not going to be able to overtake him, and that's going to make my life really hard if he keeps where he is. So good driving there. But then he goes to the other side, and then that gives me the opportunity to go. See, he's now adopted the racing line. This is not a good idea when someone is behind you and they're catching you up. Now, I'm not actually going to launch one up the inside, because there's not enough of a braking zone to do it, and to overtake him at this point I actually need to be literally side by side, and I'm a couple of car lengths behind, so that's not going to work. But I've gone here for one reason, and that is to try and unsettle him and make him think that I'm going to overtake him, when in fact I'm not. Also, I know that from this position I'm not going to lose too much speed going around the corner, so I'm just starting to put some pressure on here. So around we go there, and yep, it's worked. So he has turned in pretty aggressively there, and the car is not pointing where it needs to be for this corner, and I don't think he's braked enough either. And as you can see here, he is heading off the track, and over we go. And okay, now I've made my own mistake here, because you can see my steering wheel is turned to the right, which means I'm correcting oversteer. So I've had to slightly back off the throttle, as you can see there as well, and that's the point where you want to be increasing throttle, not reducing it. So I've made my own mistake, but he's made an even bigger one, because he's even more sideways, and he's just gone way too fast into that corner. So I'll definitely gain some time on him. And here we go. Okay, now I'm actually back on the throttle fully here. Good track position. I don't know what his throttle is in Evil DNA, but I doubt he's gone full throttle. I'm going to have a run there. Now again, this is where you've got to look past the car. Don't get fixated on the car. Look where you want to go, which is not into the back of him, so don't look at the back. And round we go. So that's the next one done. Now coming into the next corner. So all I've managed to do is get alongside him, which is good, but it's a right-hander. I'm on the inside line, so I'm well positioned to consolidate this place. But the overtake isn't done yet. So the overtake, if you like, started on the previous corner, but it's still not completed. So I don't expect you can sort of snap your fingers, get an overtake done. So let's see what happens. So okay, so we're pretty much side by side into the corner now. Now I've got better straight line speed, because that's how I managed to get alongside him. So does that. So up until the point I'm braking, I'm going to be increasing that, so he knows he can't turn into me, which is good. Now the next corner after this right-hander we're coming into is a left-hander, and it could be that he's just going to hang on the outside there and try and cut me back in on the inside, which can be done. So let's see what happens. So here we go. So I'm turning in for the corner now. He is not, but that's fine. So going around the outside there, getting a little bit taily, and you see it's onto the curbing there, which is less traction in the bitumen, so I can't see any of this at this point. I'm just focusing on my own line there. So he pulls it in, and he's gone a bit taily and a bit too wide there. So ideally, if you wanted to do that, he should be right close to me, and then able to power out and then take the inside of the next one, but not done it. But having said that, a beautiful recovery to get back from that and then get back onto the inside of it. You can see that that slide has cost him quite a bit of time there, and is now over a car length behind me, and that means that he's no longer a threat. So that slide was costly, but a beautiful recovery to get back on the apex there. Okay, now here we go into the next corner. Still pretty close behind there. The camera angle makes it look closer than it is. I'm driving fairly conservatively. Again gone a little bit wide there. You can see just slightly oversteering. I probably could have taken a little bit more curb there, but nevertheless that's okay. Coming into the next corner here, I've started to brake already. The nose of my car has gone down. He hasn't, so I know he's behind it. It's not a big braking zone, so I don't think he's going to send one up the inside. And you can see there, I don't know if he's trying to dummy me or whatever else, but he hasn't used the full width of the off the road there. Okay, going around through here, I make a better exit, because you can see now that there's probably 3-4 car lengths behind us, and the next corner is really just kind of a lift, tuck and power out, so there's no way he can launch an attack there. So as long as I focus on doing that right, then it's good. Just there we go, touch of the brakes, and open up enough of a gap now so I don't need to worry about 4th place. So I can now focus again on just driving at my 90-95% and chasing down 2nd and possibly even 1st, because we're not even one over a lap to go, and it's a long lap here. And you can see that number 4, Evil Dino, is overdriving the car a bit, going a bit wide. Okay, so into the chicane, and I missed the apex there. It's bad, but I get the next one right, which is good. That's the more important one. In Evil Dino also getting a bit out of sorts there, which is good, because then he's even further behind me. Alright, so now I can just focus on bringing down the gap to 2nd and 1st, because I'm not under any threat there. Again, turn tight there. Fairly happy with that corner. Could have taken a bit more curb on the exit, but anyway, that was still okay. And so again with Rouge here, I'm not going to go for as fast as I possibly can. I'm going to keep it in 6, because there's no one around me. Don't need to butt him off here, and just do the best that I can with it. And a little bit of oversteer there, so that lost me a bit of time, but still driving fairly conservatively. So here it's just about well, nothing to do. I don't just put your foot to the floor. So I'm actually hopefully catching these guys a little bit here. Last time I was losing time to them. So just all about just being smooth and not making mistakes. And 1 and 2 are very close now. They're starting to fight. Look, number 2 has a look, and that means there's losing time. So this is good news for me. When 2 guys or girls ahead are fighting, that's great news. So here we go, and a tap of the brake pedals there. So that's not good for number 2, because that's going to lose him a bit of time. All right, and yeah, they're very close together. Now we've got about half a lap left. Who knows what's going to happen? All you can do is just keep driving as fast as you can, and where you finish is where you finish. If you push yourself too much, then that's a problem. Now here, now it's not taking that corner well, a bit squirrely there. I've taken it fairly well by my standards, and I've got a bit of a run on him, so I can't do anything at this point here. There's no point launching an attack too far back. Yeah, he's taking. Yeah, I'm catching up. All right, I'm now behind. Who knows what's going to happen? And oh, look at that. He's just gone straight out there. Now there's no grip out there whatsoever, so I just go straight by. Thank you very much indeed. Close off that gap, and yeah, you can see they've now got 3 or 4 car lengths already, which is great. So again, past him, don't need to worry about him anymore. He's the guy that tapped into me at the front, whether that was intentional, malicious, or just an error we do not know. Doesn't matter. Here we are. So now, can I get into 1st place? We have only got really about 3 corners left. Who's to know? All you can do is just drive at your 95% speed and just hope, because if I make a mistake now, I'm likely to lose my hard-won second position. And nope, looks like Fluffy Lion has taken that perfectly, so that's not going to work out. So well done to Fluffy Lion on the win, and we're just going to have to settle for second place on this occasion. Not bad from being punted off to last. So that's the race. So again, just to recap there, look, you will get punted off. It is part of online racing. It shouldn't happen. There's no point complaining about it. Just minimise the chances of it happening. And the way you do that is that you drive defensively, you close off corners, you don't make mistakes, drive at 95% so you don't lose a lot of time there, and just try and stack the cars in your favour. And if you do get punted off, then just say, well, look, yeah, that's not my fault. I'm just going to keep going and do the best you can. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you online racing soon.